Heyo, and what is up, gang? Thank you for checking out Sledgehammer TV tonight. Monday Night Raw continues to build towards the Survivor Series by 1. Giving us the 4th member of the men's team in the most ridiculous way possible. 2. Dusting off an old gimmick match, one of the worst gimmick matches that were ever created, that is completely uninteresting and nobody wants to see anymore. And then 3, by putting Lana through a table for the 7th time. And we are going to talk about all of that and so much more as they continue to botch the build to this very lazy edition of Survivor Series we are going to be treated to in just 2 weeks on tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw. My name is Nick Nightmare. You guys are watching the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show's Monday Night Raw review right here on Sledgehammer TV. Time to bring the hammer down on this piece of crap. Let's do it.
The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
As you guys know, there's quite a few things that I cannot stand when it comes to professional wrestling. One of those things is extra long-winded promos, and it doesn't help when they are not that entertaining and do not make sense. But even more than things like that, I hate quick matches. I hate seeing champions pinned on weekly television in order to establish new contenders. And I absolutely hate when a great match is brought down by the story that is accompanying it. And that was no more evident than in tonight's triple threat match to get Braun Strowman onto Team Raw. There are so many things wrong with this one scenario that we could make an entire video just on that, but who's got time for all of that? We are gonna Cliff Notes it here for you because it's really not that important. At the end of the day, the first thing you want to say to AJ Styles, the self-professed captain, to Sheamus, to Keith Lee, and to wannabe GM Adam Pearce, who keeps making these ridiculous things happen, why would you not want Braun Strowman, who's now a member of Raw, on your team? Why would you actively be fighting against that? Why would you be fighting so hard to keep Braun Strowman off of your team when you would want every single advantage that you could possibly have? You have the limitless Keith Lee. You have Speakeasy Sheamus ready to go and ready to have a fire of a match tonight. Very impressive tonight. And then you got AJ Styles. Why wouldn't they want... Listen, Braun Strowman's not the best in the world. We know this. We're not the biggest fans of Braun Strowman. He's not the greatest pro wrestler, but he's 7 feet friggin' tall. He is a monstrous presence. To not want him on your team makes you an idiot. Especially since this big goofball dressed up like a member of the Truth Commission, looking like a big old bald jolly green giant, actually wants to be part of this team. He wants to be on Raw. He's got this viciousness in him and this fire when he's talking about, I want to be on this team. I want Raw to win. Why? Why does he care so much? Is he mad because SmackDown traded him over to Raw? Is he upset because the Raw dumping ground is gone and he's got nowhere to play every week? Why does Braun Strowman feel so strongly for a show he's only been part of for a couple of weeks? You could say the same thing about AJ Styles. He just came back to Raw. All of a sudden, he's acting like he's Mr. Raw. Sheamus is standing there from SmackDown as well. The majority of this team is made up of former SmackDown guys, but they're diehard Raw guys, and they really want Raw to win, and it just doesn't make sense. And on another note, why would you want any of the members of this team to lose on the way to building their brand versus brand match? Why do you book a match where you have Sheamus take a pin? And Keith Lee wasn't involved in the decision, but he didn't win the match. It was another match that Keith Lee has taken part of, that he has not been declared the victor. So you are damaging both of these guys who are on the Survivor Series team that's supposed to be your best guys but you're showcasing them in matches where they are going to have to lose. There's no way Braun Strowman wasn't going to win that match. But why even bother? Why even bother with something like that? Why shouldn't he have qualified over somebody else? You couldn't have gave him Tucker. You couldn't have given Tucker a better thing to do than play with Retribution tonight. Lose in, I think, 60 seconds in his matchup with Ricochet. You could have had either one of those guys wanting to be on Team Raw, having to go through Braun Strowman, which is never going to happen, and then Strowman earns his way onto the team just like everybody else did. This infighting thing is so played out and so overdone, and it doesn't do anything to get me interested in Survivor. Can they coexist as a team at Survivor Series? Who gives a crap? That's not supposed to be what it's about. If you want to do brand warfare and you want to take it seriously, do it seriously. Don't do things like this. Because it's stupid. It made everybody involved look stupid. And it pisses me off because of all the matches tonight, that was the best one. This may have been the best Braun Strowman match I've ever seen. Tower of Dooms, going through barricades. 3 huge, tremendous athletes in more ways than one. Not just in physical stature and size, but Sheamus is a former world champion. He's a former king of the ring. He's the real deal. Keith Lee, we know what he's all about. Strowman, like... I lost my train of thought, so we're just going to move. It just pisses me off. It pisses me off that they would put them in this position and damage the people that are actually on the team while they're being stupid, not wanting one of Raw's biggest, baddest men on the team. Just ridiculous. Just about as ridiculous as the way they are using the Fiend. I have found the one negative thing about Alexa Bliss being involved with Bray Wyatt and the Firefly Funhouse and the whole 9 yards, okay? First of all, the Fiend is already being overused ad nauseum, right? But now they have found a way to be able to use the Fiend without actually using the Fiend, and that's by using his extension, which is Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss, fantastic tonight in the Funhouse, but was she absolutely necessary to come out and be a distraction to Randy Orton if the Fiend wasn't going to be the one to attack Randy Orton? What, did the Fiend and Drew McIntyre come up with a deal in the back? Listen, you have your little girly friend come out and distract the Viper, and I'll go Claymore kick him in the face. And the Fiend was just like, hey, man, you got it, man. That sounds like a great idea, man. What do you think, Alexa? Okay, we're good to go. Let's do this. That's how I envisioned this meeting going down. But holy shit, man. Why are they using Alexa Bliss, and the Fiend for that matter, in this way? To tease us? Is it a tease? Oh, if you keep making them think the Fiend is going to come out, we'll keep just teasing it. We'll keep teasing it. They'll stay locked in. They'll stay watching the show. Ridiculous. I didn't care for that too much. Not because it's a bait and switch or anything, but it's just overexposing somebody who's supposed to be special. Right? We already were going to have the Firefly Funhouse segment. That's all you needed. You didn't need Alexa Bliss in the back bumping into Nikki Cross with her little demon eyes. We didn't need her involved in the Randy Orton segment. We didn't need them showing the Firefly Funhouse puppets. To go, oh, don't forget, the Firefly Funhouse is tonight. We didn't need the little graphics in the corner for the Firefly Funhouse 4,000 times before the show aired at about the 9:30 hour or whatever it was. It's oversaturating it and it's watering it down. Sometimes less is more. Especially when Alexa is doing some great stuff. The more you put her on, the less great we're going to see. Because it's just going to seem repetitive. How many times in the same night do we have to see the same superstars? We had to see Nia Jax twice tonight. 3 times, actually, if we're being honest. First in an unnecessary tag team championship match. I think it was for the championships. Doesn't matter. Versus Mandy Rose and Dana. Who cares? Who cares? This is just filler. Because nothing's going to happen. Mandy and Dana aren't beating them right now. There's no reason for it. And then we see Nia Jax all pissed off because Lana got involved in this matchup and distracted them momentarily, even though they still walked away with the win. She doesn't want Lana on the team either. More infighting for Survivor Series teams. Can they coexist at the Survivor Series? Lana and Nia Jax have been through tables. Blah, 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 blah. Why is this a thing? Why can't we just have a team? Get together, unify, solidify, and be a team. Defend your ground. Defend your brand. No. We have to worry about putting Lana through a table again tonight. Nia Jax challenging Lana to a match, which was awful. The match was just bad. Two of the least talented wrestlers on that roster were put in the ring together on this night and put together a garbage match whose purpose was only to put Lana through a table again. And it's just stupid. It's stupid. I don't care. You're not building any sympathy for me with Lana. You're boring the shit out of me. You're making me say why. Why again? Why am I supposed to care? Even if Lana turns around and by some miracle becomes a female version of Rusev and hulks up and beats the shit out of Nia Jax, I don't care. I just don't care. You've given me no reason to care. Lana's been booked like a loser since she's been put onto the active roster and was not Rusev's manager. I have no reason to give a shit about any of it. And now it's going to impact the Survivor Series teams. Who cares? Who cares? This show was awful, as usual. It all started off. There's a lot more to go over, but we're going to go in order here. Oh, and by the way, there was no room on tonight's show for the Raw Women's Champion. All right, we had to see Peyton Royce in an interview segment with Bam Bam. I'm the new Iconic. I'm 6 feet taller than Billy Kay with blonde hair. Maybe not one of my best ones, but I had to do something there. Listen, they took Peyton Royce out of the Iconics, an established tag team that actually had a pretty rabid fan base. I was not among that fan base, but they do exist, and here they are, breaking them up because Peyton Royce is going to get a push. Vince is high on Peyton Royce. Vince is high on something, not Peyton Royce. Maybe he's high on peyote. Oh, give me that Lacey Evans. He took Peyton Royce and put her in a tag team with a broad that makes no sense. Makes no sense at all. They have nothing in common. Lacey Evans is an American. She's not from Australia or New Zealand or wherever the hell they're from. Peyton Royce has never had anything to do with a Lacey Evans. Her real-life best friend in the world, Billy Kay. What did Billy Kay piss in somebody's cornflakes in the back? Did she sneeze in Vince McMahon's office? Like, what did she do? What did she do? Did she cough around the big man? Oh, she's infected. Get her out of here. He was like this before there was a global pandemic. Vince McMahon, if you even breathe in his direction, he would take you off the card. I don't understand it. You guys try to make me understand. You can't. You can't. There's no making sense of this WWE madness. Randy Orton started off this show coming out doing his Randy Orton thing, giving us his same old kind of go-to promo because he's the man now, and Randy Orton decided to tell us that he's no longer the legend killer because he simply is the legend now. Okay, that made sense. I kind of like that. But think about this. Randy Orton's got so many people with targets on his back, and they're trying to build interest here. So they have Alexa come out because the Fiend apparently wants vengeance on Randy Orton. We'll talk more about that later. And then Drew wants his championship back. He wants to be the one to beat Randy Orton, so he surprise attacked him in this opening segment. Drew McIntyre starts to leave, and then The Miz and Morrison, hey, hey, ho, ho, come down from the back. They want to cash in the Money in the Bank. I'm going through a range of emotions at this point, because I don't want The Miz to be the champion again. And I'm thinking, all right, he's going to blow this cash in right now. He's going to cash it in somehow. There's been enough time where Randy's going to RKO him out of nowhere, and then we'll be done with this Money in the Bank garbage, and we won't have to go any further with it. Unfortunately, that didn't happen either, because Drew McIntyre, the big dummy, decides to go in there and stop The Miz from cashing in on Randy Orton because he wants to be the one to beat Randy Orton for his... I don't know why I'm turning into Scottish man. I never used to do this for Drew. I guess he pissed me off, so now I'm doing the voice. Why would you do that? And really, I understand personal grudges, personal vendettas and whatnot, but we've seen the Drew McIntyre Randy Orton thing too many times now. Wouldn't it have been better for him to allow The Miz to embarrass Randy Orton tonight and then take the title from The Miz like next week? Then you could have Drew versus Roman at Survivor Series, or you have Randy Orton somehow win it back at Survivor Series. And screw the champion versus champion thing, because it's too soon for that too. Who's going to lose to Roman Reigns right now? Nobody. It's just a match that's got a predictable fuck finish somewhere laid out in our future, because there's no way either one of those guys win clean over the other. So there's a million ways they could have went about this, and they went about it in the shittiest of ways. Randy Orton suffered at the beginning of the show, but would be standing tall by night's end. They followed this up with The Miz and John Morrison being pissed off that Drew McIntyre got in the way of their cash in, and this was very annoying because every time The Miz said anything, John Morrison would say fact after every single sentence that The Miz said. It was just one of the many long-ass promos on this night that was unnecessary, including Randy Orton's and his whole interaction with everybody at the start of the show. Then we had the bringing back of a match type that is awful, that nobody likes, that is terrible to... I would never want to have to wrestle a match with anything on a pole. I don't care if you put Alexa Bliss on the pole. I'm not going to fight and try to pull her down from the pole. I don't care if it's a bag full of cash. I don't want anything on a pole in a wrestling match. The only thing I ever want to see on a pole is if we're referencing my pole and I want to see beautiful women on it. That would be it. That's when you say on a pole, I think strip club. You know, I don't think pro wrestling. Maybe that's a mental problem that I have to overcome, but that's what I think. And it doesn't matter what you put on there. It could be a coal miner's glove. It could be a contract. Could be a hot piece of ass. Could be a guitar. Could be a sledgehammer on a pole. How many different things have we seen? At least they didn't put Judy Bagwell on a forklift. I'll give them credit for that. But this is in the same vein. This is just an old school gimmick match that's dead. Dead in the water. And when you start this matchup, it's like watching a 2K match. You ever see any specialty match in 2K, whether it's a ladder match or a cage match or on a pole match, the players automatically, or the AI rather, just like they punch you and then they go for the ladder, or they go for the door, or they go to climb the cage. They've only hit you once and they're trying to get out. This is standard WWE shit. It's like they're taking notes from watching the video game, because that's what they did here. The whole first 3 to 4 minutes of the match was Elias getting in a shot, Jeff Hardy fall down, Elias goes for the guitar, Jeff Hardy stops him, Elias punches him, Jeff Hardy goes down, he goes up for the guitar, and then he stops him, and then Jeff Hardy now has Elias down, so then Jeff Hardy goes for the guitar, and then Elias stops him, and it's just a round robin of them stopping each other from climbing a pole. The wrestling here was minimal. Finally, they put a little distance between going up for the guitar and actually tried to do some damage to one another, until Jeff Hardy got up on the pole, grabbed the guitar off the pole and smashed Elias across the back with it. So Jeff Hardy defeats Elias in a guitar on a pole match on Monday Night Raw tonight, because, hey, Vince is high on Elias too. Give me that peyote. I thought Elias was getting a monster push upon his return. This is just the same Elias of old, with a new album to promote and a new theme song, which was not as good as his old one, in my opinion. Terrible shit. Oh, and of course, this had to start with Elias in the ring with his guitar getting interrupted by Jeff Hardy, who wanted to come out for the match. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler defeats Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke in under 5 minutes for some unknown reason, but we don't have room for Asuka on this show. Asuka's going to be fighting Sasha Banks. You can't give her a match? No, but we have to watch again. A rematch that we already know what's going to happen. And then Lana comes out and gets involved to watch the match at ringside, gets everybody distracted, and then they didn't do anything to her while she was out there. But this apparently pissed off Nia Jax enough to challenge her for a match later on. Bobby Lashley was wasted tonight, and the Hurt Business wasted their time tonight the first time we seen them because they were involved with the 24/7 champion. Hey, look at me, I'm a clown. I don't give a crap about this gold-plated, green-skinned avocado belt. R-Truth, one of my favorite guys, one of the funniest guys in wrestling, but I'm so bored of it. I don't need this comedy stuff. He lost to Bobby Lashley in under a minute. The 24/7 title obviously was not on the line. The United States Championship was not on the line. But this was a joke. This was a minute of filler that I think they wanted you guys to laugh at. Because, Truth is easy to laugh at. He's very funny. But this was stupid. Truth passed out. Lashley wins. And then Drew Gulak comes down, since the match is over, and decides to get himself the 24/7 championship. Lashley put Drew Gulak on top of R-Truth after he hit him with the Dominator, giving him the championship for no reason. And that's what happened there for R-Truth. Then we get AJ Styles coming out talking about how SmackDown's got a pretty good team so far. They got 2 guys. They got Kevin Owens and they got Jey Uso. Apparently this is enough for AJ to already feel threatened for some reason, and he wants to introduce his team. He calls out Sheamus. He calls out Keith Lee. He says he didn't care who they had to go through on SmackDown. Doesn't matter who's on the other side of the team. He's got the better team on Monday Night Raw. And Styles claims that he's the captain of the team. Keith Lee didn't agree to any of this. Sheamus also said that he didn't agree with what AJ was saying, but he agreed with Keith Lee. He says AJ Styles was running around in the minor leagues while Sheamus was at the top of the WWE and is never going to take orders from the Phenomenal One. And then Braun Strowman came out and things just got ridiculous. Braun Strowman talked about beating Keith Lee. Keith Lee took exception to the fact that he said this. Next thing you know, Adam Pearce is out there. He wants a match for Strowman, but nobody wants to fight Strowman. So then why not just put him on the team? If he's so intimidating that nobody on your roster even wants to face him, that's a guy you would want on your team. But then AJ Styles suggested the triple threat match, and if Strowman wins, he qualifies and will be placed on the team. We then get a really, really great triple threat match, 15 minutes long. It was even made better by AJ Styles on commentary because he actually was very minimal on commentary. But when they cut to him, his facial expressions when these guys were pulling off some of their power moves, he had a look of awe in his face, like he couldn't believe what he was seeing. He really was selling this match almost as much as the guys in the match were selling it for each other. This was a great match. It really, really was. It was entertaining. It was given enough time. If it was taken out of the context of Survivor Series qualifying and the whole Braun Strowman thing, this would have been really great. A really great triple threat match. Imagine if it was for a mid-card championship, for the United States championship. This was the type of match you would want. It was intense, it was physical, it was entertaining. These guys went all out, they pulled out all the stops, they all hit their moves. It was really a fun match to watch. It just pisses me off that they ruined it with all of the bullshit about Survivor Series. Angel Garza popped up on my screen, said some shit I barely understood, but he wanted to give me a rose, so I think he was asking each and every one of us out on a date. I don't know, but I'm not interested. So, next. Then they showed The Undertaker on the Jimmy Fallon show. The Undertaker tombstoned a scarecrow. A lifeless, dead scarecrow. It wasn't a guy dressed up as a scarecrow. It was just a Halloween decoration of a scarecrow. And this led into them talking about the 30th anniversary, 30 years of the Dead Man celebration on WWE Network, which I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of. Charlie Caruso interviewed Drew McIntyre. He said he wants to be the one to beat Randy Orton. He said the Fiend will have to wait in line. He hoped that it would be him versus Roman at Survivor Series, and he tried to put that over as something as a possibility, but he's going to beat up The Miz and Morrison tonight, and that makes him pretty happy. And the Firefly Funhouse was very entertaining and very surprising tonight. Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton have a history, and it's being brought back up. I know some people are not really excited about all this, but I am interested to see where it's going to go. Alexa Bliss was on the Funhouse tonight looking all cutesy wootsy. Bray Wyatt was doing his thing with his puppets, and they were giving hints and little things about their past encounters with Randy Orton. They showed footage of Randy burning down the Wyatt compound. They keep showing that weird symbol thing on a stick that he's got. And Abby the Witch said Randy Orton could go fuck himself. I thought that was interesting. And then she told Alexa Bliss she can fuck off too, or whatever it was. Pretty intense on the Firefly Funhouse tonight. But the craziest thing about the Funhouse was Alexa Bliss says she wants to show everybody a trick she could do, in which Bray Wyatt covers his face, covers her face, which we have seen him do before. Last time he removed it, she had the little funky eyes, which happened again this week, but then she did this like long tongue thing. This little demon tongue looked transparent. It was kind of weird, like an extra long Jolly Rancher just being pulled out of her mouth but it was creepy, and it even creeped out Bray Wyatt, who responded with a "oh shit," and then the segment was over. Pretty entertaining. I like the concept. I'm just afraid of how it's going to be portrayed and how it's getting lost in everything else, because you still got Drew McIntyre talking shit, wanting to be the one to take Randy Orton down. You got The Miz on everybody's heels with the Money in the Bank contract, but none of this really matters because in the background you got Roman Reigns as Randy Orton's next match. So what does any of this mean right now? Absolutely nothing. What I think it means, what I hope it means, is that the Fiend is going to be the one to cost Randy Orton the match and give Roman the victory at Survivor Series. Nia Jax defeated Lana in an awful match, which we talked about already, and then put Lana through the table. Who cares? MVP hosted the VIP Lounge. This is another one of those really, really long, overdone, overly scripted promo sections of the evening. The New Day was just doing what they're doing lately, talking the same old trash and saying how they took care of Retribution for Monday Night Raw, and now they expect to be paid in gold. And they want a shot at the New Day's Tag Team Championships. This would prompt the New Day to come out, and then there was this interesting back and forth, which kind of got funny at times. It was a little bit entertaining because the New Day is great at being funny, but it just went on for way too long. And by the time we got to the match, I was almost already uninterested in anything else that was going to happen. But we all know what's going to happen here, because the Hurt Business has been on fire. They need to establish them as a new tag team contenders for the tag team championships. So what do? One of the things I hate most is we have the newly minted Raw Tag Team Champions losing on a random episode of Raw by being pinned by Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander, so that now they're in line for a title shot. I hate this way of booking. I absolutely hate it. But this was a decent match as far as a tag team match goes. I just hate champions losing to establish their next contender. Nikki Cross found Alexa Bliss in the back. Alexa Bliss would not pay her no mind. Nikki Cross kept talking to her, trying to plead with her, and then she finally turns Alexa around, and she still had the little demon eyes in, but she didn't stick her tongue out, which I thought would have been great. I thought after seeing it in the Funhouse, if she would have turned to Nikki Cross and then just been like, freak out Nikki Cross, she goes running out off screen, that would have really put it over and sold it for me, really. Here's a question for y'all. What do you do when you don't want the Retribution faction to lose to the Hurt Business this week? You take the other guys that used to lose to the Hurt Business and make them the target for Retribution. Since obviously they can't beat the Hurt Business, they're going to go after the other guys that couldn't beat them, namely Ricochet. Ricochet was in a match with Tucker. We haven't seen Otis since the whole Money in the Bank debacle, but here we are. Tucker makes his Monday Night Raw debut. They gotta have big plans for Tucker, right? They brought him over to Raw with a plan, right? No, they had him lose to Ricochet in less than a minute. Less than a minute. And then to make it even worse, Retribution comes down to the ring. They beat the snot out of everybody that was there. I thought maybe Tucker was going to join. You know, that Retribution was going to come out. They'd start beating down on Ricochet, and then Tucker would join in. Get himself a new name. Like D-Cup or some shit. Be part of Retribution. Jockstrap. Whatever. But instead it was just a Retribution beatdown, and I could care less. I could actually care less. Then the show finishes off with the handicap match. Drew McIntyre defeats The Miz and John Morrison, because of course he would. But this match was given way too much time. Way too much time. I was bored as shit. And if you want to know why we're doing this review on a Tuesday night and why it wasn't up last night at its usual time, you can blame this fucking match. Because this match put me into a fucking coma. So much so that I didn't see it. And I had to come here and read these results to find out what the fuck happened. Because I really didn't care. I knew Drew McIntyre wasn't going to lose, so there was no point in watching. But this was so boring that I literally was knocked unconscious by a Claymore kick to my brain with this matchup. Drew McIntyre wins. We go off the air. Nothing was on the line here. Nothing mattered. It was unimportant. And then, of course, out of nowhere, Randy Orton, boom, RKO. Out of nowhere, takes out Drew McIntyre. And then they had the Fiend laughing. The Fiend's laughter was playing on the speakers as Randy Orton looked around all scared and shit. And that was the end of Monday Night Raw. And are you interested in any of those things that are going on? Let me know in the comments section down below. Did you enjoy anything on Raw tonight, or was it just its very usual poop hammer self? With the exception of that triple threat match, which I thought was very good, the rest of this show can take a big old poop hammer right to the chops, and they deserve it. This show was terrible. It was its main event put me to sleep. What does that say? It says this is a bad show. Not looking forward to Survivor Series at all. It's going to be interesting where we go after Survivor Series, I think. Right now, the interpromotional brand bullshit is just so lazy and so unimportant that I just want to get past it. And maybe if we can get past Survivor Series, we could start to see some stories and things take shape that make sense that we maybe haven't seen before. That's probably wishful thinking. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is the team Thor the Sledgehammer, the official Sledgehammer, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, his tag team partner, the World Heavyweight Champion, for all the microphones in all the world, Mr. Blue the Snowball. The most important member of the team, as always, each and every one of you sledgeheads out there. Now it's time for you to do your part. Smash that like button if you enjoyed today's show. If I made you laugh, I know I laughed. If I made you laugh, if I made you cry, if I made you understand why this Raw was a big steaming pile of crap, smash that thumbs up. Share this video with each and every one of your wrestling buddies all over the wrestling world. But most importantly, hit that subscribe button. There's such a large, vast percentage of you that watch me on a regular basis that are not subscribed. I don't understand. If you keep coming back for more anyway, just hit the subscribe button, get our numbers up, join the Sledgehead Army today, and get notified by hitting the notification bell so that you don't miss it, because sometimes Raw puts me the fuck to sleep, and then you're not going to know. Is it going to go up Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon? What's this guy doing? Is he sleeping in? No, I work on Tuesday. So you got to wait till I come home, and then we got to record this thing, edit it and whatnot, and put it up here. And you would know that if you had the notification bell on, because every time a video goes up, ding, you will know and you won't miss anything. So make sure you do those things, you guys. It really helps out the show. If you want to help me out, that's the best way to do it. Like, share, subscribe. It's the best way to help out any YouTuber that you love. And I know you love me, because I love you. Don't forget to watch everything you may have missed on this channel, including our review and reactions to this past episode of SmackDown, the review, and reactions to Hell in a Cell, and so much more, only available on Sledgehammer TV's Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. Thank you all so very much. That, my friends, is going to do it. We are out of here. We will see you next time right here on your new favorite wrestling show, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, only on Sledgehammer TV, right here on YouTube.com. Boom.